Good morning and welcome to our first Sony Vegas Pro editing tutorial. Today we'll be covering the basics, so just going over how to work it all, getting your way around, importing a few clips and then rendering and finalizing the video. First, you're going to want to open the program. It does take a while to open, be patient with it. Okay, when you first open the program, if it's the first time you've opened it, this window should pop up. For today, we're just going to ignore it. So don't fiddle with anything unless you 100% know what you're doing. It can get a bit confusing in here, so just simply hit OK. Okay, the Sony Vegas interface can be a little bit confusing. There's lots of buttons, everything's there and confusing. Once you break it down, it's really easy to use. On the left here, you have all your clips and files, anything you're ever going to need to edit. In this menu you have a series of tabs down the bottom. They may not be in the same order as mine, but you've got your Explorer with all your clips and programs and files and everything in it. The next one along is transitions. This is all your transitions between clips that you can use. There's hundreds of presets here, never get bored of them. You've also got your video effects tabs with all your effects in it. Nice and easy to find, all your presets are there, everything. And then you've also got media generators, which comes with colored backgrounds, checkerboard patterns, text, and other things that you can use in your videos. You don't tend to use these too much, but they are handy to have. Okay. Over here in the middle you have your trimmer, which is where you'll be cutting up all your clips and moving them to the timeline. Over here in the black box we have our preview window, which is where you get to view everything you've made. On the right here we have our volume control, which just controls the master volume for your timeline. Down the bottom we have our timeline, which is where everything will be displayed that you make and create will be displayed down the bottom here. So the Sony Vegas interface works from left to right and top to bottom, which is nice and easy to remember. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do, the other thing is the interface is completely customizable, so if you don't like where anything is, you can simply pick it up like that and put it somewhere else. Nice and easy. It's really good to work with. You just put everything wherever you want it. And everything changes sizes. So if you're working on one screen like I am, it's really easy to use. You optimize your space. You know, if you're working in the trimmer, you can make that really big. If you have a huge timeline, you can make that bigger, or if you want to preview, change the sizes around. It's all nice and easy to use. It's very good to work with. So the first thing you're going to want to do is bring in a clip. So you come over here to the left where your clips and files are in the Explorer menu, and I've just opened my documents and I've got all my clips and files here. For today I'm just going to pick this one and I'm going to click on it and drag it into the trimmer. And you see it will pop up in the trimmer. This file has no audio. As you can see down the bottom, the audio lines are just flat. There's no audio with it, it's just a visual. So with the trimmer, it's very easy to use. You've got two yellow tabs here. Between the two yellow tabs is a blue highlighting. If I was to click on the blue highlighting and drag it down here to the bottom timeline, it would only drag in what I had selected in the blue highlighting. So that's pretty much how you select. If you drag around the two yellow tabs in the trimmer, it selects different parts of the footage. As you can see, both the visual line and the audio line are highlighted. If I only wanted the visual line to be transferred down into my timeline, whilst in the trimmer menu, if I hit tab on my keyboard, you'll notice that the highlighting is removed from the audio timeline and is only on the visual timeline. Now if I was to drag this down into my timeline, as you can see, I only get one layer, and then it's the visual layer. So that's nice and easy. If I hit tab again in the trimmer menu, the audio layer is only selected and not the visual layer. So if I was to drag that down, I only get the visual layer. Okay, I will delete these items from the timeline now simply by clicking on them and then hitting the delete key on my keyboard. Nice and easy. You'll also notice that when I drag the clips down into the timeline, it automatically created lines for them to go on, which is different from Sony Vegas. This normal ordinary Sony Vegas, it doesn't do that for you, but Sony Vegas Pro does. So that's the trimmer basically. So I'm just going to, well, select the whole clip and drag it into the timeline, because I'm going to use the whole clip for this. Also, if I knew that I wanted to use the whole clip, I can also drag it straight from the Explorer menu over here down into the timeline, like so. It doesn't affect it. It's just skipping the trimmer part of it if you know you want the whole clip. Okay, so also whilst you're in the timeline down here, you can drag clips around and do whatever you want with them. You'll notice that the audio, which, well, is non-existent for this clip, is attached to the clip, and when I move the clip, the audio follows it around. This can be quite irritating if you haven't gone through the trimmer and taken the audio out in the trimmer. You get clips that just have these random bits of audio attached to them. The way to get rid of them is to simply select the clip in the timeline and press U on your keyboard. This ungroups them, and now they're individual to each other and move around separately. So I'll just delete that. If you wanted to preview what you've made so far, down here down the bottom you have your play, pause, stop controls for the timeline. The one play with the line next to it, that's play from the beginning, so that plays the video from the start. The pause button, of course, pauses it. Stop puts it back to the beginning, and the play, ordinary play button, plays from where your cursor is. So wherever you put the cursor on the timeline is where it'll play from. One thing you will notice about this clip is that it doesn't quite fill out the frame size. This can be quite irritating when you're editing. You've got this black box around your clip. It doesn't look too great. One way you can fix this is by using the crop, which is this little button on the clip itself, the square. So if you click on that, this window opens up. Once again, you can drag it around to see whatever you want on it. So the way we're going to get rid of the black, make sure these two buttons over here, the lock aspect ratio and size about center, are not selected. Now, using the toggle buttons here, move the clip, the box in so it lines up with the edges of the clip. You'll notice that the preview window is showing you what it will look like in its frame size. So the more I move, it moves also in the preview window. So that's nice, so you know exactly what you're getting. Okay, once that's all fixed, just close it, it saves it, and you've got that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to want to do is put some audio with this clip. I've got a simple audio file here in the Explorer window, just in my documents, and I'm going to drag that down into the timeline. You'll notice that the audio is a lot longer than the clip I've used. So, without using the trimmer to awkwardly try and guess how long the clip would be, so by putting it in there you get your audio file. You can edit audio files as well in the trimmer. Instead of trying to, you know, select a bit and guess how long the clip is, I can, in the timeline, simply either select the audio line, line it up with the clip and press S. This splits the audio clip in half, and I can simply delete the bit I don't want, or if I didn't want to do that, I can drag the end of the clip and line it up with the visual clip, like that. Say the clips were quite small, I can also use the scroll wheel on my mouse to scroll in and out to make sure the audio and visual clips are lined up perfectly. So by scrolling in, selecting the audio track, selecting S, and then deleting the bit I don't want. You'll also notice now that I'm scrolled in, when I split the clip, this weird line has appeared on my audio clip. This is a fade. Sony Vegas automatically puts a fade in when you split a clip like that. To get rid of the fade, simply click on the edge of it, fade, that's called the fade offset, and drag it back, click and drag it back to the end of the clip, and the fade goes away. Fades can be nice to use. They make everything look neat and tidy. So I'm actually going to go back and put that fade back in, except a bit longer to make it nicer. I'm also going to add a fade to the video clip, the visual clip. The fade is created, there's a blue toggle on the corner of the clip at the top. Click on that and drag it along. I'm going to make it line up with the fade on the audio, just a bit shorter, like that. So if I click here and play it, it fades out like that. So this is what we've created so far. There you go, nice and neat. Now that that's all been created, we're going to want to finish it off, put it in a format that we can upload onto YouTube, put on a disc, put on a USB, and show to all our friends. So we're going to want to what's called render this video. So we'll go up to the top here, and along the top you have all your controls. So you've got, open the new document, open a recent file, save, save as, and the one next to that, the save button with the blue squiggly line through it, is called render as. We want this button, so click on it and the render as menu will appear. We're going to call this tutorial 1. I like to use Windows Media Video format just because it's nice and easy to use. Most computers use it. It uploads onto YouTube nicely, and it has good quality settings. So I'll be using the Windows Media Video format. You can pick whatever format you want, if you like QuickTime or Real Media, whatever you want to use, or an AVI file type. Use whatever you want, but for the tutorial I'll be using Windows Media Video. Okay, the next drop down box, the template drop down box, this one controls the video quality. So if you want HD, or if you want to upload quickly, you can use one of the lower formats. I tend to use a HD format, one of the lower quality ones, about 720 to 25 frames per second. That one's generally a good one. It doesn't take too long to render, and it does give you a nice clear image. Okay, so now that we've selected what we want, just simply hit save. A little rendering box comes up in the middle, tells you how long the estimated time is, and it renders it for you. Okay, hope you learnt something in today's tutorial. I'm not going to render this, so I'll just hit cancel. See you guys next time for a more in-depth look into Sony Vegas. Thank you. See you next time.